UFC 300 pre-card and fight breakdowns. So first, getting right into it in the early prelims, we got Garbrandt versus Figueiredo. I think Cody Garbrandt has hit his prime, and honestly, is well past his prime. I think Figgy takes it all the way. Cody basically, Cody had the striking of. What's up, guys? Today we're doing the UFC 300 fight breakdowns, going over it, building up some hype for the card, hopefully. Getting right into it in the early prelims. First fight of the night is a banger. Cody Garbrandt versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I'm going to have to take Figgy all the way. I think Cody's prime came and left after TJ Dillashaw. I think he's, I don't want to say washed, but I think he'll always be a fun guy to watch. But I think his time is well past. Figgy's on the come up. I think Figueiredo takes it all the way. Next fight of the night, we got Bobby Green versus the OG Jim Miller. Oh my gosh, this guy is old. Bobby Green is coming off of a brutal knockout. If you saw his last KO loss, it's very hard to watch. He's unconscious and takes an extra 8 or so punches. Jim Miller, however, is older than double my age. I'm going to have to go Bobby Green. He's still young. He's still hungry. And ultimately, I say this humbly, but I don't think Jim Miller is that hard of a fight at this point in his career. I think Bobby Green takes it easy money. Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. Wow, they actually have equal odds. No kidding. Okay, so let's see. I'm probably gonna go Andrade. She has a lot of hype behind her. I'm not too familiar with Rodriguez's game, but I think Andrade is an absolute animal. I'm gonna have to go Jessica all the way. Moicano wants money. That line will always be cemented in my head. We got him versus Jalen Turner, who actually is the guy that KO'd Bobby Green that I was talking about, the brutal knockout. He was on the delivering end of that knockout. We got him versus Moicano. Moicano's coming up. Jalen Turner's kind of been around for a minute. I think it depends on the first round. I think since Jalen Turner's more of an OG, I favor him in the later rounds, but I think Moicano can get it done. He's been on a run and is an absolute beast. Go watch his highlights if you want to see something interesting. And now getting into the normal prelims. Done. That was the last fight on the early prelims. We've got Yusuf versus Diego Lopez, the king of the crazy haircut. I'm not sure if y'all have seen his haircut. You can go look up a picture after you're done watching this. But he basically has the OG middle school flow, hair kind of across, and then almost like a straight mullet in the back. Very interesting haircut, but he is a savage and especially good at jiu-jitsu. He's on the come up. He has been ripping up the UFC. I'm going Lopez all the way. Kayla Harrison making her UFC debut versus Holly Holm. Wow. I'm not sure if y'all have ever... This is also at bantamweight. I'm not sure if y'all have seen Kayla Harrison. She could be a female bodybuilder if she wanted to. She is absolutely ginormous, to be honest. I'm not sure if she can make the weight. And especially versus Holly Holm at such a high ranking, I think she gets it done. I think this weight cut is going to absolutely affect Kayla Harrison's game. She's going to have to do this weight cut, come in, fight number 5 ranked world-class women bantamweight contender Holly Holm. And ultimately, I think, I don't know if Kayla Harrison can handle that level of competition, A. And B, if she can even handle the weight cut. This weight cut is going to be absolutely brutal on her. So we're gonna have to see how that plays out, but I'm taking Holly Holm easily. Next up, we have Aljamain Sterling's featherweight debut versus Calvin Kattar. It's actually, let's see. I mean, it's not exactly like Kattar's obviously a great fighter. He's definitely not at the top of the featherweight division. Aljo, long-standing bantamweight champ. It's just he just got TKO'd by O'Malley, right? 135er. Now he's coming up to 145. I really just don't know if he can take these shots. Obviously, he's more wrestling-oriented. He's a great wrestler. I think if the fight goes to the ground, I easily favor Aljo, especially with his size. I think he can keep up with the featherweights. I'm just nervous to see how he takes those first shots, especially after getting TKO'd. I mean, we've seen it time and time again when athletes get TKO'd, it changes their career. Everything changes a little bit. It's a very career altering thing when someone puts your lights out, not only physically but also mentally. Once you get knocked out in front of a sold out stadium of people in TD Garden, it definitely changes the way you go about things. But next up, the last prelim fight of the night. This was actually moved from the main card to the prelim, swapped with Bo Nickel, which a lot of UFC fans were understandably a little bit upset about. Ex-UFC light heavyweight champion Yuri Prochazka getting moved for the up-and-coming Bo Nickel, who's not even ranked. It is what it is. I get why they did that. Bo Nickel has a lot of hype around him, but I think Yuri takes this easily. I'm not sure, how y'all saw the fight going, him versus Pereira, not too long ago for the light heavyweight title, but I'd arguably say until he got knocked out, Yuri was winning, which obviously sounds kind of funny. He was winning until he got his lights put out, but I really do think Yuri still has it, and I think he takes out Alexander with fairly good ease. He's so awkward. You never know what's coming. And I really think one of the only ways to beat Yuri is exactly what Alex did, with just an influx of leg kicks. Yuri just couldn't defend the leg kicks. I think if Rakic, I'm sorry, I honestly don't know how to say his name too, right? We'll just use his first name, Alexander. I think if Alexander can really tone up the leg kicks, I think he could get it done. But ultimately, I think Yuri, the experienced former champ fighting world-class talent, I think he gets it done in my opinion. And now we are into the main card, ladies and gentlemen. The opening bout, what I was just talking about, Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage, and Bo Nickel is a huge favorite. Everybody's expecting him to just absolutely come out and go crazy. But also, on the flip side, shout out to Cody Brundage. He's on the pay-per-view card of UFC 300, taking on some extremely tough up-and-coming talent in Bo Nickel. I think Bo Nickel gets it done. Let's be real. If you've been watching his fights, he's absolutely been mauling everybody. He is a beast at 185, world-class wrestler. We saw him at Penn State. If you follow just the whole plethora of mixed martial arts, then you know and you've seen what Bo Nickel did at Penn State in the wrestling program. Absolute dog. I think Bo Nickel gets it done. Either way, we saw his striking in his last bout against Val Woodburn. Bo Nickel is a dog. Oh, this in my opinion could be fight of the night. Going up next, we got the lightweight bout between former champ, streak man, Charles Oliveira. His title reign, the Olive Era, was one of the most insane things I've ever seen, going crazy against Poirier, Gaethje, Chandler. Charles Oliveira, he's been at the top of the lightweight division for years, and he's going up against the up-and-coming Arman Tsarukyan. I think Oliveira takes it. Oliveira loves to prove the doubters wrong in tough moments. If you've been watching any of the interviews as UFC 300 approaches, Arman thinks he's going to run through Oliveira, and I think he's underestimating. The former champ went on a crazy title run. I think Charles Oliveira gets it done. His jiu-jitsu, his striking, everything about his game is so crisp. He's constantly coming forward, and above all, he can take a punch. That's an underestimated skill. I think a lot of MMA fighters aren't, ranked for. Is Charles can get hit and he will still keep coming. That guy does not have a pain tolerance. He has more fights in the UFC than most. I think Charles Oliveira gets it done. I think his veteran status overwhelms. And I think he joins the likes of Gaethje and Poirier, right? Poirier just beat BSD and the up-and-coming contender. Gaethje took out Fiziev a little while ago, another up-and-coming contender. Now it's Charles Oliveira's chance to prove that he belongs at the top of the division, which I truly believe he does. Into the co-main event of the night, we got Gaethje versus Holloway. Honestly, I think this is one of the most ridiculous matchups I've ever seen. Gaethje should be fighting for the lightweight strap. Holloway should be fighting for the featherweight strap now. I think this is absolutely a ridiculous fight. I think they both sacrificed title fights for this belt. You can think what you want about it, but ultimately, if this fight doesn't go either one of their ways, I think they possibly sacrificed a chance of becoming champs in their respective divisions. Obviously, Max Holloway's coming up a weight class, but Max Holloway doesn't get knocked down. Max Holloway doesn't get knocked out, and that's what Justin Gaethje does. I think this fight could possibly go 5 rounds, but I mean, especially with their ages getting up there, I think 5 rounds of just absolutely giving each other some of the most intense brain damage the sport has ever seen. I think this could very well be the loser's last fight, and the winner, I don't know. I don't see either one of them, just unless it's an early ending, right? Round 1, round 2. I really kind of see this being the end of both of their careers, but obviously I'm a lean towards Gaethje. But I'm actually sorry. I thought that was originally the co-main event, but it is actually Weili versus Yan Xiaonan for the Women's Strawweight Championship. Let's see. I obviously have to lean towards Zhang Weili. She's been absolutely going crazy. I don't think there's really too much to say about that one, but I mean, I think she's going to absolutely dominate her. I think she's going to overwhelm her on the feet, and ultimately, I think she's just a better, well-rounded fighter. And now, folks, it's time! Fighting out of the red corner, we've got Alex Pereira. Fighting out of the blue corner, Jamal Hill. So we have got Jamal Hill. Obviously, this is the headlining bout, as we all know. We have Jamal Hill, who is the former light heavyweight title holder, who, by the way, did not lose his belt. He relinquished it due to an Achilles tear injury while playing basketball. He is going against arguably one of the probably 2 or 3 biggest fish of the UFC right now, Alex Pereira. Came out of nowhere, shot up the rankings, got the title shot against Izzy, was losing a lot of the fight, came back 5th round, TKO, obviously lost a rematch, came up, beat Yan, and then beat Yuri. Now he has the belt. Jamal's coming back to say, hey, I didn't have the belt. I gave it to him. I'm here to take it back. I think, especially with Alex Pereira's arguably one of his 2 biggest weapons between the left hook and obviously the calf kick, I think the combination between Alex Pereira being insane with the calf kick and Jamal Hill coming off of an Achilles injury, coming back very fast, by the way. I believe this happened around a year or so ago, and now he's back fighting for a world championship. I personally think it's too soon. I think Pereira gets it done easily, and I think that's all. I really think that's all it is. I think he overwhelms him with the leg kick. I think Jamal Hill's coming back too early. I think those 2 things combined together make for a bad night for Jamal Hill. I think he's going to wear down his leg just like he did Jan Blachowicz and Yuri. I mean, and Izzy. I mean, Alex Pereira is just the leg kick man, and so I just don't like, just looking at the chessboard, right? Or the chessboard, yes. I just don't see how Jamal Hill wins, besides with his power. I think either one of these guys can catch the other one, but I think in terms of technical striking, I think Alex Pereira, especially being so calf kick heavy, I just don't see Jamal winning. But ultimately, I'm curious about y'all's opinions. I want y'all to comment down below. What do y'all think about the UFC 301 card? Because in Alex Pereira's UFC 300 contract, not a lot of people know this, it gives him a chance to fight again at UFC 301. If Alex Pereira comes out and gets an early knockout, I hope y'all knowing that UFC 301 card's getting completely switched around and Pereira is going right smack on top of it. But with that being said, I don't know, the UFC 301 card, as we see Jose Aldo's coming out of retirement, I think that's a very interesting card for a lot of diehard fans. As we see, we have Pantoja fighting against a double-digit ranked opponent in Steve Erceg, fairly new guy around here. I think it's going to be a very interesting card. I think there's going to be some great fights, although, a lot of, I guess, some of the more casual UFC fighters are, if you don't put Izzy, Strickland, Pereira, O'Malley are one of, the top 5 arguably biggest stars, then people are just like, oh, that's a bad card. I don't think the card's bad, but let me know what you think below. that's the UFC 300 card breakdown. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. And yeah, no, this is going to be, UFC videos are going to become a very normalized thing.